radio. Remember that?
And it's kind of like an audio only thing as I know. But the most important thing is, can you hear me okay? What do I need to do to make it comfy
Yeah,
for
no,
you?
I can hear you clearly.
All right.
You know, I had the weirdest thing happen, man. I mean, I'm still kind of reverberating over it. Somebody on TikTok took one of the songs I did in the Whipped Cream album.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Ladyfingers. They made a little vignette with the music behind it, and a lot of other, you know, TikTok users used it. It went into the millions. And I got a note last week that that song that I did 50 years ago in the Whipped Cream album had, it's hard to believe this, man. It had 100 million streams.
In like a week or something.
No, no, in probably a month or so. But I mean,
Unbelievable. That's great, bro.
when I think about it, man, I think about when I started fooling around with sound, just having a good time. I had a wire recorder.
No, it's come a long, long way, and it's great how the vintage stuff still works. And then listening to the new record, obviously, "Sunny Side of the Street," I hear how you're not afraid of technology. You embrace stuff that maybe would frighten away other cats using a little bit of the
Oh yeah,
sequencers,
no,
and
I'm having a good time doing this.
I know
Well,
that.
Molly and I are having a great time, man. We're doing 52 concerts this year. Had to make up a lot of these concerts that we had booked 2 years ago.
No,
But
that's a huge bunch of those shows. Well, we'll talk about the shows in a second, but first I got to give you a gigantic aloha and huge mahalos. Please know we're so grateful to have you back on the show. Feel the gratitude, my brother.
oh, great, thank you.
And it's cool that this record has the "I'll Remember You" on it. That's a track that's been popular, obviously, Kui Lee, and famously covered by Don Ho. And this record coming out at an interesting time, certainly, as you go back out there to promote it, too. Now, do I have it right? It's the first time you'll be hitting the road or doing any kind of public anything since the pandemic.
No, we've been out there the last two tours, the last couple months.
Okay, you've been out already since the
Yeah,
pandemic.
we've been out. We've been down south. We've been all sorts of places, and I'm enjoying it. I enjoy doing this.
So you've had a good time out there. No way. What was the first time back on the road like? Anything weird happen? Anything strange, odd? Anything memorable about getting out there?
I'm totally knocked out on why we're kind of filling up the arenas that we're playing in or the venues. So I'm tickled that so many people still remember me and the music, and I feel very special that I get to do this and make X amount of people happy with the music. Very few people get a chance to do that in their lifetime to touch others like that.
No, totally, man, totally. And what made you do the talk about some of these tunes on the record, like the Hawaii one, "I'll Remember You," Kui Lee. Tell a little story about when that first entered your life, if you will, and why you decided to bring it into this the new Sunny Side of the Street album.
Yeah, well, in the 60s, I played at the HIC a couple times with the Tijuana Brass. One night, I don't remember the exact date, could have been around 1968 or 1967. Um, After the show, I saw the Don Ho show at the International Marketplace,
Yup.
and I had a couple drinks. I was, I don't know, it was Scorpions or something. Anyways, I had the trumpet with me, and I heard that song many times before. I remember you. I'll remember you. So I got up on stage with Don and I started playing the song, and it was like a goosebump. It was a goosebump for me. It was a goosebump for my partner Jerry Moss, who was with me. And a couple, I don't know, several months ago, he said, "Why don't you record that song again? I'll remember you." So I pulled it out, and I remember, I had a really sweet conversation with Kui Lee one day uh, at the beach, and I remember some of the other songs that he wrote, like "Tiny Bubbles," But this particular song it has a very haunting, innocent melody. And I started playing around with it, and all of a sudden I started feeling of that vibe, that every now and then I play something that makes me feel good.
Right.
And when it makes me feel good, that's when I pursue it. So I pursued the arrangement. Uh, a guy named Joachim van der Sag helped arrange this for me. And when I heard the final product with my horns on it,
You
I
loved
said,
it.
"Wow,
Yeah.
this is I like this. This could be a nice record in Hawaii. Whether it's a nice record in Hawaii or not, it's still it's touching, and that's the way I choose my songs when I record, and it gives me a particular feeling of satisfaction. That's when I release. That's when I put it in an album.
And it was Jerry Moss. You were talking to him, and it was him who gave you the idea. Do I have it right to redo it?
Yeah, Terry Moss called me a couple times. He says, "Why don't you record? I'll remember you." The first time he said it, I thought, "Well, man, that's kind of old. I did that. That's a long time ago." Then I pulled it out, and I started having a really moment
Right.
playing it. So
That's cool. And the beach memory, when was that? Flesh that story out for folks a
well,
little bit.
that was the same time that I played with Don Ho that night. That was 67, 68. I'm not sure what when Cooley Lee passed, but I remember him being a really sweet guy, innocent guy, and he was very talented. He had a touch, he had a touch for really nice melodies. So,
You've crossed paths with so many cats. You cover Louis Armstrong's Sunny Side of the Streets, the title of the record. Had you ever met him?
oh man, I played with Louis.
Tell us
I
a
did.
great Louis. Tell us how you first hooked up with Louis and what.
Oh man, yeah. I was the MC of a show called the Hollywood Palace, and Louis was on the show. Oh no, it wasn't the Hollywood Palace. It was another show. I forgot what it was. Anyways, we rehearsed, and Louis was very natural. He was just like a regular person, no airs, no nothing, just a good guy. And so we did this show, and we started talking. We kind of chummy because he had this personality that was very the feeling like I had known him for years, and I did know him for years from his music, but I didn't know him personally. But that's the feeling he gave me, and we did these. I played "Hello Dolly" or something else with him on the show, and then we started chatting. And at one point, the camera was off, and I said, "Man, I know a lot of your friends call you, Satchmo, but I said, what do your really, really dear friends call you?" He said, Irving. he was a crack up, this guy. He was great. So,
Irving.
yeah, I got great memories of Louis. And the most important memory that I have of him is that I was really touched by the sound that came out of his trumpet was the sound of the person I was talking to. There were no airs, no nothing. It was so innocent. It was so authentic, and he was the instrument, and that's what I try to impart on other kids wanting to be musicians. Try to find your own voice, your own sound, your own way of doing it. And I've not worked on it, but I know I have my own identity of sound.
No, totally. And folks can hear that on all these tracks really throughout it. And it's fascinating to hear some of these, because you've had run ins with so many incredible people. Of course, a big one that is kind of looming over everything these days, Queen Elizabeth, in your long, illustrious career. Did you ever cross paths with the Queen?
Oh, yes. We played for her in 1974.
Take us back. Tell us as much of that as you can remember. And what was the
I'll
occasion?
tell you the whole thing, Dave. The whole thing. We were playing at the Palace with a bunch of other artists. And before the show, they said, don't look at the Queen. She's going to be up at the box just to acknowledge her. And if she likes the show, she will send a note backstage, and then after that, you could come back and go into the line in procession and meet with her. And so I got that invitation after the show, 1974, I believe. And I was waiting in line. I think Canty Floss or one artist, I think it was Canty Floss. He was behind me. And so I met the Queen. She was very gracious. And Prince Charles, Prince, not Charles, but the wife, the husband.
Edward?
Yeah, was Edward the husband?
I can't remember, but I get it. We'll cut that part out. So you met her. You met her husband as well.
Yeah, I met her husband, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I got all your CDs up in the. I play them up in the den." And I was thinking, like, the den, Windsor Palace. What kind of a den do you have there? Anyways, so okay, I met them. I was all puffed up by this time, thinking that, oh man, I just played for the Queen. She really loved it. She was very gracious to me.
Yeah.
Thanked me so much for being there. And, I go back to the dressing room. I'm all, you get all my clothes. I have my trumpet on my shoulder, and I walk out the front door, and there's like a huge crowd of people just waiting for all the artists that were on this show. And so I get out and I walk past this two ladies, and I heard them saying to themselves, "I'm not sure who this chap is." And the other and the other lady said to her, "I think it's Sergio Mendes." So that was my experience with the Queen, but it was a memorable night for me, obviously, and I'm saddened by the passing, but she was quite amazing.
And lived a long, long life with a lot of rich experiences. So it's
70 years, and she held it all together, and she was always put out that positive energy, and she was lovely.
And Herb Alpert met him himself. That is huge. And that was met her himself, and that was the only time, correct, that you met?
That was the only time, right?
And when you think of some of these other British cats, though, who are so different than you, and what an amazing story that is. And see, I'm trying to go for stuff that I know that we've never talked about in hopes that we'll get stuff like we just did. But there's other major cats. I'm just curious. Maybe you've never had a run-in with them, but like Ozzy Osbourne. You ever meet Ozzy?
Yeah, I met Ozzy someplace. I don't remember where. Seriously, yeah. I met him once. He didn't seem to make much sense when I was talking to him.
Did he know who you were?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Where do you remember where roughly? Like, was it in L.A. on one of those?
I think it was in L.A. I can't be sure of that. You got some other artists. You got
Robert Plant.
No, I never met him.
Glenn Campbell.
Well, Glenn Campbell, I was friends with Glenn Campbell. I used Glenn Campbell on a lot of records. In fact, man, I don't know if I ever told you the story of Waylon Jennings.
Nope.
Okay. Jerry, my partner, Jerry Moss, and we discovered Waylon Jennings. And Waylon was a disc jockey in Phoenix. And we heard his, demos, and we decided, this guy has something. So we signed him to a A&M contract, regular 4-year contract. And I used to go to Phoenix now and then to record him. And I did this one song with him called 4 Strong Winds that was written by Bobby Bear. And it was really a good recording. Waylon loved it as well. And Chet Atkins happened to hear it.
Wow.
And Chet was the head of RCA Nashville at the time, and he made some overtures to Waylon that if he ever gets out of his A&M contract, that he'd have to talk to him, which he shouldn't have done. He obviously jumped right over our bones, but Chet was a good guy. I knew what he heard. And so Waylon, made me aware of that conversation he had with Chet. And, at that time, I wanted to take Waylon just a little bit more pop. And Waylon really wanted to be a country artist. And when, Chet Atkins made that phone
Overture.
call to him. He got all excited because Chet was the guy for country artists, and we thought in Waylon's best interest, we were going to let Waylon out of his contract and have him go with RCA and Chet. So we told Waylon what we wanted to do. We want for him in his best interest. And I remember this was in 1964, and it was before we had the Chaplin Studios. We had another office on Sunset Boulevard. And that afternoon, we signed Waylon's release. Actually, my partner Jerry signed the release, and I looked at Jerry. I said, "This, I think this guy's going to be a big artist."
Wow.
And Jerry said, "Yeah, I think he will be a big artist." And man, even when I tell this story, I get a little choked up because I felt at that time, if we were that honest with our artist from this point forward, we were going to be a huge success. And that's what happened. A&M was a huge success. And we let Waylon go to do what he had to do in his best interest. And that's the type of partner I had, one that could, think like that. So I thought, hey, this is going to be fun.
Wow, what does that say? What a great lesson for folks listening about integrity and fairness and caring about other folks' opinion and interest and desire and aspirations. And that's an interesting kind of story. It touches so many
Oh,
different
yeah.
things. And man, I'm appreciative of. And Glenn factored in. Circling just quickly back to Glenn and how. So you used Glenn nothing ever with Waylon, but Glenn would do different sessions with you essentially.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did a record that was the number one record in Canada with the Lucille Starr. It was called The French Song. And a couple other things I did with this group, the Canadian Sweethearts, and Glenn would be playing guitar. And Glenn didn't read music, he was just instinctive. He was a fabulous musician.
Incredible, huh?
Yeah, really incredible, mind-boggling, incredible type of guy.
Yep.
And he could sing, man. Before he became popular with that TV show, he used to do demos for various writers here in Los Angeles. If they wanted to do a demo that they thought Frank Sinatra might like, he'd kind of sing like Frank Sinatra, or he's that type of style. He was great. I love the guy.
Diversely talented cat in a lot of ways, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a James Brown, sort of able to do a lot of different kinds of things. But
yeah, and he was a sweetheart, man. He was just a nice guy.
you had him out to the compound there in Malibu ever?
No, I met him at one of the restaurants out here, but no, we didn't
Never around the
socialize.
house. Right.
Yeah.
And before we wrap it up with you, back to the record, "The Sunny Side of the Street." Do you don't happen to have your sax handy? Maybe do a little bit of that wonderful song that we're gonna use as like your wrap up. The Cooey Lee, "I'll Remember You." Is that thing handy or no?
Oh, I can go grab it. Hang on one second here.
You're the king bee. You know that I love that.
Yeah. And what key do you want this in?
I want it in the one that's easiest for you. It's a little muted. It's a little too muted.
Yeah.
Well, it's cutting it out. It's not like it's like a gate. It's like a noise gate is cutting it off, if that makes sense. That's it.
That's it, man.
Yeah, that sounds nice. What did you do? You took off the thing on.
I put a mute on so it doesn't bug anybody around here. Yeah.
Well, we
Well,
appreciate.
I've been doing that since I was 8 years old.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to play?
With my wife.
Listen to you, of course. On that, with that instrument, is there any riff that's like just your favorite one, the easiest one, the one in the concert that you enjoy breaking out the most?
Mm, I don't know, not really. Probably, there's a song that my dad used to love, and that was, wait a minute, take the mute off. See, my dad was born in Kiev, a little town outside of Kiev.
Fiddler on the Roof, Rich Man.
Yeah, so he loved that song, and
So did my grandmother. That gives me chills to hear that.
yeah, well,
That's
gives me
huge.
chills to think my dad was from Kiev, and
Say it one more time. I cut you off. Say that again.
it gives me some chills to think, my dad was born in Kiev, and so much crazy stuff is happening in that part of the world right now.
Oh my gosh, no question,
Yeah.
no
And he came
question.
to this country. He was came by himself. He was 16 years old on a boat by himself. Didn't speak a word of English.
Wow,
So he was a real hero in my life.
that's gigantic, man. That is.
Yeah.
Is that a place you ever went as like a pilgrimage sort of deal to visit it as a Kiev or no?
No, I've never been there,
I hear
and
you.
my wife is not very adventurous when it comes to travel. So
Well, you got a big tour that's you got to concentrate on, and when you going to be back out here? Have you snuck back to your place out in Kahala, or have you not been out yet?
our daughter was there a couple of weeks ago, but in our place, and yeah, we just don't have the time. My wife is so concerned with what if,
I,
you don't want to spread this virus, and she knows that I'm in that age where you don't want to get sick. So
did she buy you
she's
like
trying
a?
to.
Did she buy you like those things the astronauts wear, like a space suit for the tour, so that you're sort of insulated from everybody?
My nephew Randy, who wrote Rise, has that. He has a spacesuit,
Too
but no,
funny.
I don't go to that extreme. But I'm definitely conscious of wanting to be safe.
No
If I
question.
feel pretty lucky and healthy right now, so I want to keep it that way.
Sending you nothing but good vibes, cuz I hope you had fun being back on the show, brother Herb.
Oh man, thank you so much. It's always nice talking to you, Dave. And hooey ho.
Right back at you, and if you're going to be out in town, let us know. Love to do an interview or whatever, and throw lots of support your way. And what's your favorite tune from the record you want me to go out with?
Well, because when you're in Hawaii, there, I would go with "I'll Remember You."
We're gonna do it. It's Herb Alpert
Yeah.
and Sunny Side of the Street, new record, and lots of love and great luck for you. And say hi to Lonnie. I hope the tour is a total success and that you're happy and healthy throughout.
Yeah, it already is. It's sold out. So I mean, I'm a lucky guy, Dave.
I know that, brother. I know that.
Thanks. Okay, man. Take care.
You
Be
too.
safe.
Aloha.
Bye.
Bye.
Aloha.